I do want to add some more flavor to that Saudi question, since we are the technology partner to Mobile and Libara, so I have a little more to share. I'll come to that. Let's first go through the presentation. Very glad to be here. Informa conference has been a regular for me. Some of you must have seen, board seeing me here. But as every year we meet, I see some new exciting ideas come through. It's always exciting to be here. This is probably the most dynamic part of or one of the most dynamic part of the telecom industry is the MVNO market. And as new markets open up, I would say that after a period of lull, the last couple of years has been probably one of the most exciting times for the MVNO industry worldwide. A number of new markets are opening up, and not only they're opening up, I would say that the regulators have also woken up in a very different way. I mean, Saudi again, I'm forced to come back there, is that I had a slightly different version with the regulator issue on Saudi, is that I thought they've done a great job. Of course, they distorted, if you could call it, by saying one MVNO is equal to one MNO, and you have to have your technology platforms. But I thought by defining that, you come in and give independence to the MVNO technology by forcing or putting a premium on that MVNO license by limiting it to one. And also, if you read through the fine prints of the regulator, they have ensured that the MNOs from some of the issues, like Farid raised about the price parity, they've ensured all those issues captured in the regulatory framework itself, that the MVNOs cannot be outpriced by the MNOs. All technology access is that if you have 4G, you've got to give them 4G. If you have coverage in a particular area, you've got to give them those. So kind of a parity market, high parity to the MVNOs, and ensure that you'll be very surprised that it's one of the most successful MVNO launches in the recent times. Number of MVNO subscribers is already close to 800,000, and of course Libara has taken a lion's share, and I'm very happy. The subscriber growth has really grown on the Zeiss platform, and the number of new product launches we will see, and also new MVNOs launches based on this experience. Other MVNOs are being allowed from Q1 of next year. I would say Saudi is a very exciting market, and also unfortunately we didn't have much regulatory presence here in terms of panels, but I would say it's one of the good markets from a regulatory perspective. Where the regulators, I think, has done a good job. Anyway, moving on. Well, a quick thing about Zeiss. It's a subsidiary of Microsoft, basically located in Massachusetts, with our global delivery center, technology operations out of Hyderabad, India. Close to 25 years of telecom expertise. We've done more than 230 deployments, a lot of them across tier 1 telcos across the globe. More than 120 patents applications have been filed. We've got 35 global patents, pure and full innovation and technology company. Let's move on. I think some of these statistics we have heard over the last 24 hours, so I don't want to repeat it, but close to 1,000 MVNOs. Never thought we're going to reach that kind of numbers. Of course, a majority of them are in the triad countries or triad nations of EU, US and Japan. But the subscriber is expected to touch 300 million globally, and revenues of over 73 billion. And what we have, as I mentioned, the last 2 years, that MVNO market is going through a very exciting phase. In many markets, we see ARPUs rising for MVNOs. And yesterday, you heard, of course, I have to say it's the best presentation. My customer, Jason, he's not listening. I'm not getting brownie points here. But as I said, Jason's ARPU in the last 2 years, TikTok's ARPU went up from 35 to 63 ringgits. That's an amazing number increase in, I would say, less than 24 months. And it's the same, in many of the markets. So what is driving this? That's the very important, that's the theme of my presentation today, what we're talking about, the ushering of the MVNO 4.0 era. So I'm going to skip some of these because we've heard of all this ARPUs and the market penetration in Thailand, but a good part to go to that last block, that is the average data consumption in Asia, and Thailand is a classic example, is close to double of that of Europe, and it's increasing. And that's really amazing, and that's also one of the big drivers of growth in QTalk as well, and many other MNOs as well in India, in Malaysia, everywhere. I think that's an explosion that's happening here. So if we look at it from some of the things I presented in one of the informal conferences again in 2011, look at 2000, if it's still visible. Primarily, when MVNOs were just about on the corner making their marks, nothing but MNOs or brands, completely under MNO, nothing else but just data distribution and brand strength. And then over the next 6-7 years, we saw the MVNE driven models where aggregation was taking place. So the number of new brands that could enter the MVNO market really jumped. We saw lots and lots of launches during that period, especially in the United States and Europe. But also we were seeing that some amount of customer intimacy and specialized services were just about evolving. But in 2011 is where we really, roughly around the period, we had a lot of thick MVNOs emerging where they had technology independence, service independence, a lot more beyond retail, little more beyond retail services like enablement, enterprise, end-to-end, converged services. All this started taking off. Really, that MVNOs, I would say, came of age around the time with number of new services, differentiated services, beyond MNO thinking in terms of how I'm going to approach my market, not just going to fight for margins or that arbitrage on the wholesale prices, but I'm going to fight on my own strength in terms of service offerings, in terms of differentiation, owning my customers, customer intimacy, etc. What we see now is clearly the next phase, which is what we're calling as MVNO 4.0 in Zeiss, that looking beyond your own MVNO, a multi-network strategy. One of the extreme innovation that, like Jason presented yesterday on a multi-network, what we can do with the data speed, and that's one example. And there are several, clearly examples emerging on a multi-network strategy. Clearly, data-centric offerings. Voice arbitration is the last thing we want to discuss in 2015. Yes, it is important, but we can't get stuck there. Mobile enablement, over-the-top services, IoT and commerce are definitely going to be the biggest drivers of output growth, subscriber growth from now on. On-demand service offerings, which could be on-the-fly, one-off customers, as it happens, avail and go. Quad play, where a lot of MVNOs, Farid gave us an example of how he got into distribution business. Why not broadband business, right? Look at the quad play area, and clearly beyond retail is the real theme and focus that we all believe that the MVNO market and landscape is going to be in the coming years. Sustainability is the critical one, as we know, including from our own examples of being in the MVNO market and supplier and vendor for the last 10 years. Probably I've seen more failures than success. I've lost a lot more money when failed MVNOs. Clearly sustainability is a very critical area. Sustainability comes even, to be fair to the MNO, one of the key things that many greenfield proposals that we take to the MNOs in some of the exciting emerging markets in Africa and Middle East, clearly, sustainability is one of the key criteria that MNOs look for from these MVNO applications and potential partnerships. And even for us as MVNOs, I think that's probably the single most criteria. We have seen some spectacular failures when it is purely based on brand, like Disney Mobile, like DSP. Been some spectacular failures when it's based on just distribution. You can't be better in distribution than those joints. They still fail in the MVNO market. So clearly, I think that sustainability is no more just a brand and distribution game. Come on, if Disney can fail, who else can't fail in terms of brand? I think we've seen that kind of clear message from the market. Just brand and distribution distribution won't do. We need to have differentiated services. Where we saw success in that, like QTalk, which is reinventing itself every 3 months, every 6 months, something or the other, it keeps happening. One thing that I can't complain about QTalk is that there's never been a dull moment with Jason. Anyway, it's not possible with Jason, but even otherwise in operations, I think it's a good example of how MVNO grew itself to beyond million subscribers, and the short period of time did not happen just like that. There's a lot of innovation, a lot of differentiation that goes in there. TracFone in the US is a great example. I mean, in a dominated, MVNO-dominated market, this is the brand that's got more than 10% market share in a country like the United States, and they have tie-up with all operators. It's a very different strategy. So clearly, differentiated services is a very good example of saying that we have to go beyond retail, beyond business distribution and brands. Some of the key points I mentioned for 4.2, as I said, the central point is a data-centric approach, dynamic, content-sensitive, and customized product offerings and data. Of course, this one is very critical. We need to play within the net neutrality. There's a lot of noise about net neutrality. I know as part of the telco ecosystem, we don't like it, but there's a lot of room to play within that. And control over technology for real-time service fulfillment. I think yesterday, Mr. Arena drove the first panel. I was like, yes, brought up a lot of question on the technology area. I don't think that there is any more doubt that as an MVNO you can exist without your own technology. I think there's no debate here anymore, because we're talking about beyond MNOs, multi-network deployment, service differentiation, taking advantage of these new emerging industries, new M-enablement, M-commerce, M-health, and many other or OTT services. Control of your own destiny means control of your own technology. I think that's a very important element, that independence. Independent access to content, commerce, and interconnect providers. There's a lot of money there, there's a lot of churn there, and there's a lot of dynamic and exciting offers there that we can constantly change our bundles to the customers, to the subscribers. So that access is very important. Can't be just dependent on the MNOs. OTT focus. We'll come to that. We've seen that WhatsApp type, for example, or the top services completely took the thunder out of the SMS market in a very short span of time. What was touted, starting from the Philippines market as the #1 revenue driver in the late 2000s, suddenly vanished in the last 2-3 years. This SMS, I'm saying. So, OTT services is always nice. Hindsight is 2020. So you went back and then you're all saying how the operators were silly, stupid, and anticipate this coming, and it should have. It's always nice to see hindsight. The point is, as MVNOs, as the people like us who are always the back against the wall, what is the foresight? What are the next OTT services that are going to really take away that we as MVNOs can, get into the market? Differentiation through those OTT, and considering OTT as part of our day-to-day rate plan bundles is going to be a very important thing according to us. It's as a success, as we think so much of MV data, so much of text messages, and so much of voice calls, whether it's an unlimited bundle plan or whatever rate plan we do, what so much of OTT of what, something that we need to think through. Look at all OTT services, partner with key OTT players, how to control that content, and all this also, we need to arrive on, we need to watch by observing customer analytics, observing customer behavior, where they are going, and the number of tools available. I mean, yesterday morning we heard the Oracle presentation about some of the great tools they had on data mining, on how to handle customer data. Similarly, there are many analytics tools available, not all of them expensive. It's not doesn't cost millions of dollars. There are many cloud-based services, but bringing customer analytics, especially on the data side, as a central part of our day-to-day operations. It will be a very key, differentiator for an MVNO to offer sustainable or first of its kind services in its market. The other aspects we talked about in 4.0 is mobile enablement. So we see that I've been talking to some of the big operators here in Thailand as well as the regulator. One of the key initiatives in Thailand, for example, with the regulators is this digital or digitization of or digital services to the common population. We hear that in India as well, and where digital services to the common man or common citizens. There is a number of areas of mobile enablement, government-driven as well, as an opportunity here to be an MVNO, right from land record access to healthcare, mobile education. It's a number of areas are tremendous. Or the underbanked population, how we target through mobile commerce, mobile banking. As you know, a number of virtual bank licenses are being issued. Yesterday, we also had a lot of discussions about new areas, and some of the discussions also centered around virtual mobile banking. Banking is an area where why not MVNOs should look at. It's not just telcos going there. Why not MVNOs? Of course, Internet of Things, that's going to be driving, even according to GSMA, most of 9 out of 10 new connections over the next 5 years. So that's an area we need to look at. We already, as we talked about, money transfer, enablement of enterprises, enablement of government, e-commerce fulfillment is another very strong area. I mean, e-commerce is sweeping a lot of Asian countries, even in Africa. I think this is an area where how MVNOs, because in most of these places there is no credit card, there's no banking, but there is a mobile phone. And where there's a mobile phone, we can be there. So thinking beyond this traditional retail services is the point that I'm trying to repeatedly emphasize here. NFC. So very, suddenly it was only Japan and Korea, and now US is being adopted. How are we going to be part of the NFC-enabled ecosystem? What is it that we can do? Well, this is one of our predictions in the next 4 to 5 years. It's going to sweep the market in multiple different ways, and NFC-enabled devices, NFC-enabled posters, NFC-enabled billboards, NFC-enabled ticket machines. NFC is going to be all over the place. So how as MVNOs, what kind of services we can drive through NFC? To me, that's another Wi-Fi or another whatever connectivity or another way of driving services. So how as MVNO we can think of NFC as some big ticket item for us. So from all these, we look at the 4.0 landscape. The orchestration from an operational point of view for an MVNO, I would say is four key points. One is multiple operators. Goes without saying. I think that MNO may be providing some spectrum, but we clearly need to have a multiple operator strategy. Would be connected with interconnect operators, long distance, broadband, or like Trackform. They manage to have multiple MNOs in the same country. This is where one of the points that even in the previous panel we were talking about was the role of the regulator. Clearly that us as MVNO community, we are very underrepresented at the regulator area. As new services are getting opened up, as new licenses which are all mobile enabled, mobile driven, new industries coming up, probably that's one area where as an industry body or something we should do in terms of lobbying for the MVNO in multiple regulatory markets. As I said, in markets like Saudi, regulators are themselves driving a number of MVNO supportive measures. Places like India, I don't want to take Girish's thunder here, he has a presentation in the afternoon, but places like India, the regulators are so concerned that yet to even allow MVNOs for the last 10 years. Anyway, I don't want to speak about that. But what I'm saying is that multiple operator strategy should be allowed, is allowed, and can be adopted even within the current regulations in multiple markets. So we need to take the best of it, just like operators take the best of MVNOs. should take the best among our breed. Clearly, full and complete independent ownership of technology and services, away from the MNO, away from any single point of concentration, especially MNOs, is a must. It goes without saying. Independent access or constant looking at content as an important, it's just no more words, and OTT services. All in all, I think that whatever we have learned and not learned over the last 10, 15 years, one thing is clear, that so much of excitement is happening in the mobile market. The number one thing as an MVNO we would have learned in the last 10 years, now is the time to be on the driver's seat. So whether it is re-looking at contracts with MNOs, or getting into flexible contracts, or going through regulatory lobby, or looking at our own technology, clearly that we have to think us in the middle of the universe to really realize some of the potential from these exciting new opportunities emerging. One of the exciting partnerships is from Zeiss. We are, as you have been aware, we are an end-to-end technology provider, probably one of the very few people who provide the network core as well, right, from HLR, HSS, PCR, and GGSM. I mean, you have a spectrum of, access to your MNO, and a switching, everything else we can provide. Right up and down up to CRM, customer management, customer experience management, analytics, fraud management, everything in-house. 98% of the technology is developed and patented in-house. We also offer complete end-to-end operations to most of our customers. Day-to-day management of technical interfaces with your MNOs, with your content providers, with your customer care or call center providers, everything. Some of our examples, I did talk about TuneTalk, Mobile Ibarra, Telefonica, Latin America, US Cellular, Sprint Boost, Global Send. For example, good example of travel Amp Mobile, Tata, Firefly, just to give some examples of where we launched. And we are in the process of launching several other next 4.0 MVNOs I talked about, you will hear in the next few months. So that's the summary. MVNO 4.0, any questions? I'll be happy.
Any hands? GBI, I'll always have a question.
Nobody has a question? So clear? Okay.